One of the top catching prospects in America is headed to LSU. We're talking about him, Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. We are still on vacation, but thrilled to be bringing you this content here on Locked on LSU. As Jay Johnson, the Tigers, fresh off a national championship, now fully into the portal, into building the 2026 roster, and the news is coming fast and heavy. The previous episode, we told you about two left-handed pitchers that LSU has added today. Fantastic news as Omar Serna, one of the top catching prospects in America for the class of 2026, says he will bypass the MLB draft, will be a Tiger. And also, I have another name of a left-handed pitcher with connections to Stephen Milam that we're going to get to in a bit that LSU could be targeting. Let's start, though, with the Omar Serna news. So Omar Serna is a catcher out of the Houston area. He is either the top or number one or number two catching prospect in America for the class of 2026, depending on which industry outlet you subscribe to. He is 6'2", 225 pounds, out of the Houston area, huge frame. Okay, now he's also a guy that in high school has pitched from the right side, has played some third base, but here is what you need to know about Serna. Serna is a really good bat, 6'2", 225, a big-time power. So you are talking about a ready-made, plug-and-play, big-time power bat. But the glove needs improvement. His arm from the backstop is plus. So plus arm, plus power, good size. The glove is what needs to improve. As I was told, this is a guy who probably was seeing listen, high school guy, as we all know from high school, sometimes it can be easy to put on weight and maybe not have the best nutrition. A guy that probably needs to lose some weight, but was finding himself trending in the 4th or 5th round for this upcoming July draft, which again is still elite. But if you're a guy like Aaron Beatty a year ago, who fancied himself as the number one catching prospect in the country, had a number, and then saw his number start to drift and realized he wasn't going to get the number that he coveted, Aaron Beatty decided, coming to campus. Same thing happened with Derek Curiel. Perfect. Well, that's now happening with Omar Serna. And Serna is a guy that will be on campus for 3 years now and will likely back up Aaron Beatty in 2026. So Cade Aaron Beatty is going to be your starting catcher. He's been on campus for a year, and we know Aaron Beatty has the power. He has all the physical ability. He needs to get a little more refined as a backstop, but big arm, all the things. He's just a year advanced from Serna. Serna is a guy, though, who, if you look at like a quote-unquote worst-case scenario, this is a right-handed bat that becomes your DH or your right-handed pinch hitter, okay? Think John Pearson this year. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with John Pearson if he's back, if he has that role, but he's going to be pushed in that capacity by a guy like Serna, 6'2", 225, big-time elite power right away. And if he comes over and can show his ability to hit major college pitching, then Serna becomes like his lowest, like his floor is he's your right-handed pinch hitter. He's probably not going to beat out Aaron Beatty to be your starting catcher, but could be your big 6'2" dude that stands on first base, catches the ball, and slugs homers. He could be your right-handed DH. But Serna's power makes him really intriguing as a freshman and a guy that has real opportunity to play immediately. So if you're thinking of it, it's probably a guy that worst case is taking some of those ABs from the right side from John Pearson next year. I've been asked this a lot as well. Okay, well, what happens now with a guy like Eddie Yaman? It's a good question. And Yaman's an interesting one because remember, Yaman was a guy who played at Dayton. It's not like a guy who came to LSU and redshirted in his first year in college. Like, he played at Dayton. He was a productive offensive player at Dayton. He could catch, play first and third. He comes to LSU as a transfer and redshirts this year at LSU. Now, with Aaron Beatty and Serna, Yaman is likely your number 3 catcher. Now, could we see something unfold where Eddie Yaman becomes your first baseman or your DH? Maybe. But remember, you also added Seth Dardar out of the transfer portal from K-State. Seth Dardar told us on this show that his most comfortable position is second base, but he just wants to hit. So there's a real scenario where Seth Dardar comes and is a grab the bat, slug 20 homers from the right side as your DH. Ethan Fry returning next year is your starting left fielder. 6'6", has like it may stand a reason to say, well, why wouldn't a scout why wouldn't pro teams draft Ethan Fry? Now I get it from Fry's perspective where he comes back, he loses all of his leverage, right? I mean, he is a true junior, so he comes back, he's a senior, he loses all of his leverage for the draft. But who's going to draft Ethan Fry when he hasn't proven he can play a position? He's basically been a right-handed DH for LSU. There's not a premium on that. So he could come back to LSU, make good NIL money, rev share money, play left field, hit 20 homers, have an opportunity to be a high draft pick next year where he won't make great money because he has no leverage, but might have a better opportunity of making a team if that makes sense. And then he can come back and play another year at LSU. So I could see a scenario where if you're just playing it out, opening day, Ethan Fry is your left fielder, Derek Curiel moves to center, Jake Brown's in right. I mean, that's probably as of today, your day one starting outfield. I could see a reality where Aaron Beatty is your starting catcher, and you know that Stephen Milam is your starting shortstop. Well, maybe Dardar is your starting second baseman. A guy like Serna could be your starting DH. Yaman could be at first. And then remember, you also added Braden Simpson, the transfer from High Point, who could be your starting third baseman. Again, this is very presumptive, and it's so early. We don't even know what other players LSU will add via the portal and what's going to happen in the draft. I mean, there may be elite-level high school players you're expecting to show up that don't, or guys that you're expecting to sign that end up on campus. So a long way to go till we know what the roster is going to look like, but just kind of as you play it out right now, that's how it could look. I mean, you're going to replace your entire infield except for Milam. So I could see a world where Yaman at first, Dardar at second, Simpson at third, Milam at short, Aaron Beatty catching, Serna could be your starting DH, and then in left field, that's where you stick Ethan Fry with Curiel in center and Jake Brown in right. Like that could be, I mean, don't hold me to it, but I'm sure a lot of you will clip this and we'll play it back in February, but that could be an opening day lineup for LSU. But Omar Serna is a guy that has big-time power, and if he shows he can hit major college pitching immediately, that power will get him in the lineup. So another big-time right-handed bat coming to LSU. LSU's already added a couple of left-handed pitchers in this portal, and there's another one worth keeping an eye on that I want to tell you about when we come back next here, Locked on LSU, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime, and there's nothing like Major League Baseball in this time of year. I'm telling you what, y'all. I was over at Fenway just a few weeks ago to watch Yankees Red Sox, and there was just nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the smell of the grass, the pop of the mitt, everything is just better when you're at a ball field. And Gametime can get you there, no matter what park you want to be at this summer. If you want to if you're living in Louisiana, you want to make a pop over to Houston to watch the Astros, you want to do like I did and fly up to Boston to watch the Yankees and the Red Sox, or go up to New York City to watch the Yankees. Here's the bottom line. Gametime is the easiest way to get tickets, and prices on the Gametime app actually decrease the closer you get to first pitch. So I'll tell you, I did this. I was sitting in a bar with my brother-in-law and my nephew across the street from Fenway, did not have tickets. We flew up there with no tickets. It was a Friday night, Yankees, Red Sox, Father's Day weekend. And about an hour before first pitch, I got tickets. Second row, right next to the Red Sox dugout. And the prices were decreasing as we got closer to first pitch. So I'm telling you, Gametime takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, Create an account and redeem with the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So LSU added 2 left-handed pitchers, which we discussed in our previous episode. If you're an everydayer, you heard it, would highly recommend you go check it out. Ryler Smart from Tennessee is one that we are very high on, a guy that was one of the top prospects in the country a year ago. Had Tommy John, basically had a rehab year at Tennessee, coming to LSU and projects as a future starter now for the Tigers, which is awesome. You also added Lockenmeyer, the left-handed reliever from North Dakota State, a kid who pitched at LSU against LSU a season ago when North Dakota State came in for a midweek series. Remember, Jay Johnson makes those mental notes. Did it with Chris Stanfield. I mean, he's told the story. I mean, Stanfield was a guy who, as a freshman, got a couple of knocks off of Paul Skeens back in 2023. Jay Johnson made the mental note when Stanfield went to the portal, brought him in. So I don't think there's any surprise that whenever Jay Johnson plays against or sees a guy that he thinks he can that he thinks he can help improve, he can help his team, he's going to make a play. So Lockenmeyer's another. But another name I want you to keep an eye on is Santiago Garcia. So Santiago Garcia is a left-handed reliever who spent this last year at Oregon. I'm going to give you a little bit of the backstory, and you'll understand why this is a tie. So Santiago Garcia is 6 foot, 180, not overpowering, but started his college career at Central Arizona Community College. So he played his first collegiate season in JUCO at Central Arizona Community College in 2024. Was 1-1 as a reliever through 22 2/3, 16 appearances, a 3.04 ERA, struck out 38 in just 23 2/3 innings pitched. Okay, so big time strikeout stuff there. Spends 1 year at JUCO in Arizona. Then this last year goes to Oregon there this year in the Big Ten. In Oregon, he ends up having, he pitches in, he throws 30 innings on the season. He ends up with a 4.20 ERA with 40 strikeouts and 19 walks. Walks a little bit of a problem, but 40 strikeouts in 30 innings pitched this season for Santiago Garcia. But that's only part of the story. Santiago Garcia played in high school in New Mexico, in Las Cruces at Centennial High School, where he was a high school teammate of LSU shortstop Stephen Milam. So Santiago Garcia is Stephen Milam's high school teammate who went JUCO. Oregon is now back in the portal. Here's the tricky part about Garcia. Garcia was a reliever in JUCO, a reliever at Oregon, and he, as I understand it, wants the opportunity to be a starting pitcher. That's probably not going to happen at LSU this season. So the question is, do you recruit Garcia and say, hey, look, we'll give you the opportunity. You want to come here and battle for a starting job? I mean, listen, there are no definitive starters. I mean, we all assume Casey Evans is going to be in the rotation. We can assume that a guy like William Schmidt, Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams, Zach Cowan, I mean, you got lots of candidates there that could be rotational pieces, but Connor Ware should be back next year as well. So you got a lot of arms, a lot of competition, but no spots are defined. So if he wants to come and say, look, give it a go. Play with your high school teammate, Stephen Milam. Come play for the defending national champs. Make a little NIL money. Vie for an opportunity in the weekend rotation. But at worst case, you're a really good left-handed reliever with strikeout stuff. That could be the path here for a guy like Garcia. But it's one to watch. Now, the big arm from Oregon is already off the board. Kid throws 99. But Garcia is a guy who doesn't have that type of overpowering stuff, but strikeout stuff, ties to Stephen Milam in the portal. LSU is after him, very likely another left-handed reliever. And again, shout out to everydayers. We talked about this, but if you look at the left-handers, Cooper Williams is back, who is likely going to be vying for a spot in the rotation. Connor Ware is likely going to be back next year, could be in the rotation, could be a reliever. DJ Primo is going to be back as well, situational reliever. You've now added 2 left-handed relievers from Tennessee and North Dakota State as well with Smart and Lockheimer. So you're building your left-handed arms for 2026, and Garcia could be another, so keep an eye on it. The bottom line is Jay Johnson right now is building this roster already knowing full well what he knows he's going to need with what they've added in the portal, and then with a little bit of an eye on what could be based on what other players enter the portal, and then what other players enter the portal, and what happens in the upcoming draft at the beginning of July. So we'll be following that here as we move along. But what you need to know today, Omar Serna will be a Tiger. He's pulled his name out of the MLB draft, and the Tigers have a really good shot at landing another lefty in Santiago Garcia, who is a high school teammate of Stephen Milam. So you want all that info, you know where to get it. It's right here on Locked On LSU. Hey, thanks so much for making us your first listen on this bonus content here on this Saturday, depending on when you're listening or watching. We appreciate you for being there. If you are listening, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.